You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touché and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's showtime. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's showtime. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time.
Let's get straight into it. Friday, the 21st of April is our next live episode. It will be a mock draft, full live mock draft, all 7 rounds with trades. So you will certainly want to be with or be in the comments for that one, be in the live show for that one, be part of the war room. You know, let us know who you think we should take, who we think we should avoid. You know, if you're Team Kadeem, which is I'm saying my full name, Team Cads, which is, don't draft a quarterback in the 6th or 7th round. Make sure you're in the comments for that. We can try and stop Charlie from doing that. Also, we have a returning friend of the podcast in Will Hayes. So if anyone wants to ask him any questions and have them, answered on the show, let us know in the comments. Hashtag Ask Hayes. Let us know on social media. You can see the social medias on the screen at Go Time Dolphins, Twitter, Instagram. So yeah. And also, it looks like also on the 21st of April, at 8 p.m. Eastern, we over here at Go Time Dolphins will be drafting for the Miami Dolphins in the Cover One live podcast. But we will talk about that more later on. So 2 live shows, 2 Go Time Dolphins on Friday, the 21st of April. Mr. Charlie Touché, how are you?
Former Miami Dolphin, William Hayes. Give this man his credit. Former Miami Dolphin, former Los Angeles Ram, former St. Louis Ram, former Tennessee Titan. You know what I'm saying? My dog, William Hayes, coming on to the podcast once again. That should be fun. It's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. I'm your boy, Charlie Touché. Got my co-host, Kadeem Simmons, with me. It's always for the fans and by the fans. Your favorite podcast. It's draft season, Kadeem. We had Ali on. We had Owine on. We had Charlie Wilson on. And now we're talking Touché's 24. Anybody who knows Touché's 24, you guys, or rock with Go Time Dolphins, you guys know we put together a list of the 24 most underrated or not talked about prospects that I feel like need to get more credit, more shine, and need to get out there a little bit more. So they're not talked about and they're underrated, and that's how they make my list. And I think they can make a name for themselves in the NFL. And what this episode is going through my previous Touché's 24. So we took I don't want to say the best of the 24, but we compiled a list of the most notable. Maybe they might not necessarily be the best, but they're the most notable. And number 1 on the list, Kadeem, is who?
I can pull the list up right now if that helps.
I like it.
So let's get that done. So as I am grabbing the list, off the top of my head, and I've seen the list, but I couldn't tell you, word for word where they are, and I've just seen it. I was going to go with friend of the podcast, Javon Holland. Again, I have to give him his props. So that's what my guess was going to be, and yeah, Touché's 24.
So we getting this list up. Shout out to Go Time Dolphins graphics team. Everybody who's on the team, man. Everybody comes through. Everybody has the dopest work, from thumbnails to graphics to all this stuff. And this one in particular was made by Lon Ray. We appreciate you. This is just the dopest of the dopest. And like I said, it's like 6 people behind the scenes. It's not just me and Kadeem. But this is Touché's 24 from 2020 to 2022. And that's a pretty healthy list, Kadeem. We'll just start from beginning and go straight through it. Probably won't have talking points on every single person because we don't go that long on this podcast, but we'll try to touch down on every single person for sure. But first up is friend of the podcast, Javon Holland Kadeem. What do you remember about Javon Holland coming into the Miami Dolphins?
So, do you mean before we drafted him or after we drafted him?
Both.
If I'm correct, and I could be wrong, didn't a safety go just before we drafted Javon Holland?
Oh, let's pull it up. Let's see what we got. So 2021 draft and 2021, Javon Holland was picked in the second round. All rookie team he made. Played 33 games, started 30 of them. And the Miami Dolphins are not an organization where they just throw their rookies out there like that, which I really hate because there's some rookies that, just put them out there and we could, and they'll take off. And then there's some rookies that need to sit for a little bit. And if for some reason the Dolphins have operated a bit backwards, you know what I'm saying? Tua needed to sit for a whole year, but they just threw him into the fire 6 games in. You feel me? And then it looked like they were going to sit Javon Holland for a while. And then they had to start him because Jason McCourty got hurt. You remember that?
I do. And so I'm looking at the 2021 NFL draft. And what's interesting, and I remember it fondly now, a lot of Dolphins fans were looking at Javonte Williams as the running back.
Yes.
So the second round starts, and the Jags take Tyson Campbell, the Jets take Elijah Moore, the Broncos are on the board at 35, the Dolphins are picking at 36. The Broncos take Javonte Williams, and everyone's like, it was like someone just popped.
No, hold on. The Broncos traded ahead of us to take Javonte Williams, didn't they? Because everyone thought the Dolphins were going to pick Javonte Williams, so the Broncos traded ahead of us to get him.
Yes, you are right. So then the Dolphins are on the board, and everyone believed that UCF safety Richie Grant would be the first safety off the board. The Dolphins obviously select friend of the podcast, Javon Holland. And again, it was a draft people great pick. Holland's a dude. They probably should have gone Richie Grant. But, you can't go wrong with Holland, but you can certainly go right with Richie Grant. Also interesting is Landon Dickerson was on the board. He goes one pick later. But yeah, so, and also Trevon Moehrig, and if I got his name wrong, I apologize, but he also went a few picks later. So everyone assumed Grant would be the first pick, but Trevon Moehrig was also one who was quite highly thought of. And the Dolphins went Holland. And I think, 2 years later, no one would ever go back and redraft either of those guys before Holland. Do you think that's fair to say?
In the 2021 draft, was Javon Holland the second safety taken or
first safety in the
draft? Because I remember everyone saying, "Oh, Trevon Moehrig will be the first safety taken." I remember him supposed to be the first safety taken. I don't recall, and I think I kind of left Trevon Moehrig off my list because he was being talked about. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, he's getting too much. And here's the thing. Another thing about this Touché 24. Let's be clear. If you're supposed to go in the first round, you're not going to make this list. I don't want you to make this list because I don't want people to say, well, anybody could have put this first round pick on the list. However, there's some nuances to it because just because you're supposed to go in the first round, there's 32 GMs that might get it wrong, and then you fall to the late second somehow. So now I have to find a way to create a balance or some threshold of, all right, this player is not getting talked about enough. So now that kind of creates, all right, well, if he's not getting talked about enough, he could still go in the first round, which there's somebody else coming up on this list that went in the first round. He might be the only player that I have that went in the first round, actually, on all these lists. But anyway, it's a player that went in the first round, but he wasn't getting talked about enough. And I felt like he could have slid, but he didn't slide. He ended up going in the first round. And we'll talk about that player here in a little bit. And then the flip side of that is players who in my opinion, should go in the first round. And if they don't make the list and then they end up sliding to the second, someone's going to say, well, how come you didn't have that player on your list? He was a second round pick, i.e., Justin Jefferson. Everybody wasn't high on Justin Jefferson. They were waiting for Jamar Chase to come out. I thought Justin Jefferson was better than Jamar Chase, and let Bert tell it. Me and him will still argue about it, right? So if I didn't put Justin Jefferson on this list and he fell to the second round, everybody would have ate me up. Same thing with Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor didn't make the list, but I love Jonathan Taylor, love Justin Jefferson. They were just too high profile to make the Touché 24. You see what I'm saying, Kadeem?
Could you not? And I feel like this will be an episode where it's a lot of me asking you questions. Could you not have it so you kind of have a list of here's guys that would make Touché's 24, but I think they're going to go in the first round, kind of like to cover your bases essentially.
Yeah, because what that would do is it would say, well, I knew about him. You see what I'm saying? Like, I knew about that person, but I didn't put him on the list because I thought he would go in the first round. Just to keep it cut and dry and real simple, it's called Touché's 24, and then that way I eliminate all that. But I can, you know what? I know what I'm gonna do, Kadeem. That was a good idea, but I'm gonna do something else, and I'll cover it just to show everyone's how dedicated I am to this draft process and like the real like scouting acumen that I possess. Like, I really want to show everybody like my talent and not just say, oh, I could pick these players. I really want to show people like, yo, I really do this. And I one day would love to have a job where I do it for a football team. You know, I mean, that's not my goal, but if something happened, of course I would love it. But let's get to the second name on the list, Kadeem. Who is it?
So getting the list back up, and the second guy on the list is Rondale Moore.
Rondale Moore.
And I remember you being very, hey, the Dolphins need to draft Rondale Moore.
Bullish on Rondale Moore.
Like, listen, you need to find a way to get Rondale Moore to Miami. Like, so, and again, 2021 NFL draft, the Dolphins do take a wide receiver. They take Jalen Waddle at the sixth overall. But even like you was very much, hey, see that Rondale Moore kid? He's a dude. Let's get him to Miami. What did you see from Rondale Moore's college tape? Which is like, you know what? This guy has to be on Touché 24.
The man squats 600 pounds. Rondale Moore is like 5'10", 5'9" and a half. And he squats 600 pounds. He's not just a small dude. Like, for example, Tyreek Hill. If you didn't know better, you just, Tyreek. Remember when people try to compare Tyreek Hill to Jakeem Grant? Or Jakeem Grant to Tyreek Hill? Oh, Tyreek Hill could do it. Like, Jakeem Grant, they're the same. Like, no, there's levels. You feel me? So the way Rondale Moore is built, he's built like a running back that can catch like a receiver and make plays like just a superstar. And I'm gonna say it again because I don't want no one to say, oh, but remember when Charlie Touché said Rondale Moore was better than Jalen Waddle? Listen, I still believe if Rondale Moore was on the Miami Dolphins, Rondale Moore would have broke that rookie record too, not just Jalen Waddle. You see what I'm saying? So I think it's how you end up, how you land, where you land, and everything like that. I will say this: Rondale Moore is not better than Jalen Waddle. I can't say that, but he's still a dude. You see what I'm saying? Played 15 games, started 22 of them. So if you get Rondale Moore a quarterback outside of Kyler Murray, someone who could put the ball on your chest, I like Rondale Moore to make me look better. Who else is on this list? So you got something else about it?
Well, just more about the Dolphins in general right now. So we will discuss it later on, but the Dolphins have picked up a new wide receiver in Chosen Anderson.
Yeah, we could talk about that now. Actually, that's perfect. We can talk about that.
What do you make of the Dolphins picking up Chosen Anderson? But also, very quickly, shout out to the way he announced he was going to Miami. And so for those who haven't seen it, he was at, I think it might have been a party in Miami, but he's at a party and he kind of does like a announcement, yo, this is my next team. So someone hands him a
shoebox,
a Nike shoebox, and he opens up the box and he pulls out a white Miami Dolphins jersey with QB1, Tua Tagovailoa on the back, and everyone's like, "Oh!" Now, what's interesting? This was it Saturday night? Someone on social media was like, "Oh, chosen Anderson has chosen to go to Miami," and everyone's like, "I've seen no sources. Rapture hasn't said it. Blah blah. How do you know this?" And the guy was like, "He was at a party and he did it," and everyone's like, "Oh no, you're lying." Hours later, everyone jumps on it. So to the dude who got that first, yo, what an excellent pickup. And very before I pass off to Charlie, to anyone who doesn't know who Chosen Anderson is,
Hold
former
up, yo, it's like it's our podcast, bro. You know, you could just you could shoot me an assist, and I could come through and deliver. You don't have to just run off with everything, bro. So Chosen Anderson is the artist formerly known as Robbie Anderson. So Robbie Anderson changed his name to Chosen Anderson, and that's why Kadeem is saying Chosen Anderson. Like, who is this Chosen dude? You know what I'm saying? So Robbie Anderson, formerly of the New York Jets, the Carolina Panthers, and lastly the Arizona Cardinals, is now coming to Miami. And yeah, we could get into the rest of the story in bonus time where we could really dive into it. But that is fresh news. We should have probably took care of that before Touché's 24. But back to the list. That's some good stuff. He did it like a gender reveal, Kadeem.
Yeah. but the reason I want to bring that up is because had they not picked him up, and I guess it's not even off the table right now. It seems like players don't want to be in Arizona no more. Safety Buda Baker has asked for a trade.
Out of there.
If Rondell Moore was like, "Yo, I'm leaving as well. I want to be out of Arizona." Do you, as Chris Gray, pick up that phone and say, "Hey, come bring your talent to South Beach," or do you go, "You know what? Nah, I've got to, leave you to go somewhere else."
As you know how much I love Rondell Moore, and he's on this list. You know what I'm saying? But no, because there's money involved now. Because you have to pay Rondell Moore big bread over $8 million whenever he's up. You know, it's going to be over 10. It's probably going to be like over $15 million for Rondell Moore whenever that happens. It was the same draft class as Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle's going to break the bank. You see what I'm saying?
And Javon Holland as well.
Right. So my thing is, but this is what we talked about, Kadeem. You have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and that third receiver was never important anymore. So when Cedric Wilson was already signed, and we talked about this at length, I can't say that word. It's hard. So so we talked about this for a long time. That yeah, we would love to have Trent Sherfield on the team, but at what cost? You know what I'm saying? How much we got to pay Trent Sherfield to stay here to be a blocking receiver, third option? So when everybody said, "Oh, go get OBJ," like, yo, OBJ is not going to block 35 plays out the game. He's not going to sign up for that. You see what I'm saying? So now you went and got Braxton Berrios, and I'm like, look, the Dolphins need depth behind Hill and Waddle, because if one of them go down, we need to have an offense where it's like, all right, they only have one weapon. We can't have a one weapon offense. You see what I'm saying? So what happens now, if one of these boys go down, you still have the threat of Chosen Anderson on one side and the other on the other side, whoever didn't get hurt. You see what I'm saying? Now, Braxton Berrios, he could play like slot, but it kind of changes the dynamic of the whole team, the whole offense, I meant. So I think the writing's on the wall for Cedric Wilson. For sure, I think the writing is on the wall, and expect Cedric Wilson to get moved in the draft or post June 1st.
100%. But like you said, let's get back to this list. Where do you want to go next? We said we're not going to go through every single player. Is there anyone? You know what? Can I pick someone?
Yeah, go ahead. What we got?
Same draft class. Pick 47. Asante Samuel Jr. And if you're not watching on YouTube, Charlie Touché is shaking his head again. So this is the Dolphins have Xavier Howard and Byron Jones, CB 1 and 2, and I believe Byron Jones hadn't played a snap for the Dolphins by this point, had he? This would have been his first year.
Say that again.
So at this point, so this is the year Asante Samuel was coming out. Byron Jones hadn't played a snap for the Dolphins just yet. We just picked him up in the offseason.
Really? Was it? Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So the Dolphins have already paid Xavier Howard. They've now paid Byron Jones, and again, Charlie Touché in the build up to the 2021 NFL draft is saying, "Go and draft Asante Samuel Jr. Do not let this guy lead the draft, and he's not in Miami. Go get this guy." And to this day, even last season, Charlie was like, "Hey, before the draft, go get Asante."
Bro, I said I would trade
Before
a
the trade
first round
deadline.
pick.
Before the trade deadline, and obviously, so at this point, Byron Jones hasn't played yet, but you're still saying, "Go and get Asante Samuel Jr." You have to go and get him. So the Dolphins don't have him. Why are you so? What did you see in his college tape? Because you were like, "This guy has to be in Miami, even though you're paying 2 cornerbacks already. Go get him."
The cornerbacks that we have on our team are good corners, and Byron Jones was on our team at the time. So you have Byron Jones and Xavier Howard. They're solid corners. But Asante Samuel Jr. is so versatile. He can play inside and outside. Byron Jones and Xavier Howard can only play outside. That is it. You're not even going to entertain playing them on the inside. And in my opinion, playing inside is harder than playing outside. So when you play nickel, you have to respect every single route on the tree. If you're playing outside, the out of bounds is right there. You have the boundary as your friend. You don't have to respect every single route on the tree because you're outside. Inside, you got to play all that. So shout out to all the nickel corners that are dogs out there. You feel me? Asante Samuel Jr. is and I don't give this tag to everybody. He's a football player, bro. Like, this man knows football. Picked off Trevor Lawrence 3 times in the playoffs. This past playoff game when the Chargers played Jacksonville. And unfortunately for Asante Samuel Jr., his quarterback couldn't protect the 27-zip lead. I'm just saying, like,
Mental.
I don't know how you do that. You feel me? So, you just said it. I wanted Asante Samuel Jr. last year because I knew, okay, Byron Jones is whatever's happening there. So instead of that first round pick that we traded for Bradley Chubb, I am on the record saying I wanted that first round pick to go to LA for Asante Samuel Jr. because, one, you would have got younger at corner, and you still would have been versatile because you can put Asante Samuel Jr. to the inside or outside, and he's still on the rookie contract. Second round pick, 2021. 29 games played, 27 games started. Asante Samuel Jr., one of my favorite picks on Touché's 24 ever. There's a couple of them, and they're on this list as well.
I honestly don't think there will ever be a time where you aren't saying, "Go and get Asante Samuel Jr." Like, again, even right now, the Dolphins start the season and they've got Xavier Howard, Jalen Ramsey, Kader Kohu, acquaintance of the podcast, True Williams. You'll be like, "Hey, see that first round pick? F that pick. Go get Asante Samuel Jr." So,
hey, you know what's funny? You're right, because we could just go get Asante Samuel Jr. and then let X walk next year. You know what I'm saying? Like there's always a way to bring in Asante Samuel Jr., bro. There's always a way, bro. Like, X is getting old. We have to get younger. And apparently we still might go corner this year. And you can never have enough corners. Now you can pay too many corners. You can do that, and that's a problem. That's problematic, but you can never have enough of them. So if there's a way you can get more corners and get deeper at corner without having to pay every single one of them all the way to the 4th corner on the roster, yeah, that's a problem. So the way I see it, we have Ramsey now, we have Xavier Howard, we have Kader Kohu starting at nickel, we have Nick Needham behind Kader Kohu, then you have friend of a podcast, True Williams, right? At probably going back and forth between safety and corner. If you draft a corner this year, what you're telling everyone in that DB room is no one's safe. You see what I'm saying? And there's some good dudes coming out in the draft this year, and no one is safe. So I think the writing will be on the wall. Like, you don't want to have to pay Nick Needham coming off of, what was Nick Needham, an Achilles? there's so many injuries. I think Nick Needham had an Achilles or a knee. I think he was the Achilles and Trill Williams was the knee. I can't remember. But Nick Needham's coming off a season ending injury. And I think he's getting like $3 million right now to play this year. So when you're up against the cap and you're in your Super Bowl window, every single dollar counts. Every single dollar counts. So I imagine you draft a corner this year, Nick Needham will be gone next year. You got to get younger at corner. Can't keep paying Xavier Howard $18 million a year. Jalen Ramsey, $18 million a year. You got to get younger there. And for my dollar and for Canadian's pound, Asante Samuel Jr. is younger and is worth every penny or pence.
I've got that round somewhere as well. So I picked the last one. Where would you like to go with the next one? What number, what pick, what sort of player would you like to talk about next?
Let's go to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown is fourth on this list. They're not technically or he's third. They're not technically in any kind of order. But I think you see, shout out to Lon Ray. Dope graphic, got Rondell Moore, friend of the podcast, Javon Holland, and Amon-Ra St. Brown on the graphic. Super dope work from Lon Ray. But anyway, Amon-Ra St. Brown, route running abilities are second to none, bro. One of the best route runners in the league. Came in, I think he made first rookie team, 4th round pick, 2021. 2022 made the Pro Bowl. Like, bro, this man is it. 90 receptions in his first year, 106 receptions in his second year. Shout out to LB, had him on fantasy football, sniped him from me, and I was hot for the whole season trying to trade for this man. Couldn't get him back. What does PFF say about Amon-Ra St. Brown? If you got it, if you could pull it up, please. Fact check, stat check.
While I get that up very quickly, once again, 21st of April is quite a big day over here at GTD. We have a live mock draft on this channel. Didn't even tell the time. That will be 11 p.m. UK time, which is Charlie. I need a US time on that, please. Are you on mute? You're on mute.
6 p.m. Eastern time is when we're going live this Friday on Go Time Dolphins.
And then after that, if you want to join us, we are also doing a live draft with the Cover One guys. Greg over at Cover One. I believe it's Walk the Mocks Interactives site with chat, live trades, and all 7 rounds. And Go Time Dolphins will be drafting for our Miami Dolphins, so you will not want to miss that. And that is at 8 p.m. Eastern, which I believe is 1 a.m. UK time, but that's another one. So again, as I quickly find out what do you want to know? Sorry, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Amon-Ra St. Brown. What's he look like on PFF? Obviously, it's according to PFF, so we'll take it with a grain of salt. I don't remember what we looked up a grain of salt meaning, but we'll take it with a grain of salt.
Oh, I can't remember that. But let's have a look. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
90 receptions as a rookie. 106 receptions in his second year, made the Pro Bowl, 1,100 yards receiving, 6 touchdowns. Bro.
Let me get that up.
Shout out to Sherrod Steve too, because Sherrod Steve sent me Amon-Ra St. Brown prior to the draft, and I liked him. And if for people who remember the way I pick my players in the process, I kind of have this tier of, I need this dude on my team. And then there's a second tier of, I wouldn't mind if this dude was on my team. And then the third tier of, I don't want this dude on my team, right? So Amon-Ra St. Brown was in the, I don't mind if this dude is on my team. And then prior to the draft, Sherrod Steve sent me like a little, what do they call it? What is it called? A little short from like a YouTube short. And I'm like, yo, I need to put this dude on my list. And then he got the bump up from, I need him. I want this dude on. I don't mind having this dude on my team. I need him on my team. And next thing you know, he becomes I'm a Raw St. Brown. What's PFF saying?
So he's he keeps saying what we're looking for in particular. Of his 2021 stats, 115 targets, 90 receptions, 912 yards with 5 touchdowns. They gave him an overall grade of 79.4. He had 2 drops that year, 10.1 yards per reception, 4.8 yards after the catch per reception. And then fast forward to 2022, 139 targets, 106 receptions, 1,161 yards, or you call that what, 1,161, I believe?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then 6 touchdowns, and they gave him an overall grade of 90.7. Had 4 drops, but 11 yards per reception, and yards after catch per reception went up to 5.1.
So he was a 79 overall coming in as a rookie, and PFF boosting him up 1 year later to a 90.7 overall in his second year. Bruh, Amon-Ra St. Brown is here to stay. I call him the new Cooper Cup. Target machine. He's going to eat. LB's going to try to snipe him from me in fantasy football again, and I'm going to be sour. Who else we going to on this? You know what? Let me go to one more person on this Touché list. Touché's 24.
Okay, bear with me 2 seconds quickly. Just get this back up.
And if we could, after you pull this up, we'll bounce back to PFF too. So I'll give you a little second too. Next on the Touché's 24 list is someone else that me and Sherrod Steve like to bring up. One of the I'm proud of a lot of these picks, Kadeem. Like there's some picks where 3 years from now, someone's gonna say anybody could have made that pick, but anybody didn't make these picks because they're all like second, third, fourth rounders. You feel me? So anybody didn't make those picks. And there's some picks on here. It's like, shout out to Charlie Wilson. He was like, Charlie, I don't know how you found that dude. You know what I'm saying? And there's some picks on here where I'm like, man, bro. And I say, Abraham Lucas last season, and this is not who I was about to talk about, but Abraham Lucas last season was a right tackle, Kadeem. Right tackle. And here I am saying, like, yo, we need a right tackle. And Abraham Lucas was there for us for the taking. Like, we can get Abraham Lucas. So to see Abraham Lucas, right tackle, pan out to be as good as he is in Seattle, I'm proud of that pick. Like, yo, Abraham, no one was talking about Abraham Lucas. No one. Like, nah. So I'm proud of the Abraham Lucas pick. I'm proud of the Javon Holland pick. I'm proud of the Jeremy Chin pick. Antonio Gibson was cool. He's not as under the radar as a lot of these other people. But Trey Smith, if you could look up Trey Smith on PFF, bro, Trey Smith was a 6th round pick. And I had Trey Smith going in the 2nd round. I have no idea how so many teams could let this person slide past them so many times. Trey Smith started, I want to say, every game so far for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now he's a Super Bowl champion. Started at guard. Let's see what I can pull up while you try to pull something up too. Trey Smith.
Very quickly, 21 Kyler Gordon. Is that the cornerback?
It is.
So again, I'm looking at last year's draft, and you've got 3 guys on Touché's 24 on this list in particular, and they went back to back to back. So 2nd round, pick 39, Kyler Gordon goes to the Bears, Touché's 24. Pick 40, Boye Mafe, pick 40, Touché's 24. Pick 41, Seahawks, again, Kenneth Walker, Touché's 24. So 3 picks in a row in the 2nd round, and all 3 guys made Touché's 24. And then also, you also had Wanda Robinson, didn't you?
Yeah, Wanda Robinson's on the list. He got hurt too.
But he went pick 43. So pick 39, 40, 41, and then 43. All of them are on Touché's 24. Yeah, that's
Kadeem, I appreciate you, bro. You know, it's the gift and the curse though. Because I told LB about Jonathan Taylor. and everyone was like, Jonathan Taylor fumbles the ball too much. And there was a conversation: DeAndre Swift, Jonathan Taylor, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and there was like one more runner. Who's the running back that went to Baltimore?
What year is this? 2021.
Yeah, I can't remember. I can't remember who it was, but it was. He got hurt. He's not healthy. Zach, no, not Zach Moss. It was DeAndre Swift, Jonathan Taylor, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and there's a runner Dobbins, J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah,
J.K. Dobbins, and everyone was like, and they listed their running backs, and LB was like, well, if you had to pick, feet to the fire, if you had to pick one, who would you pick? I'm taking Jonathan Taylor, and I'm just working on his hands. You know what I'm saying? The reason why he has more fumbles than everybody is because he has more touches than everybody. You know what I'm saying? And they're not a passing school, they're a running school, and he don't have hands. Bro, you could work on hands. Darnell Mooney has a judge machine in his house, inside the house, Kadeem, not even outside the house. Inside the house, Darnell Mooney has a judge machine. Shout out to Darnell Mooney, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Has a judge machine, bro. So when I told LB about Asante Samuel Jr. and Jonathan Taylor, like, the truth hurts. So now he gets to see I'm sending, I call it film. I'm sending film to LB, like, hey, look at this, watch this, right? And they'll be like, dang, this dude is nice. So when you watch the draft and then you see your favorite team pass on people, it kind of hurts, like, dang, bro, like who are we gonna get? Like, knowing that that we just missed out on this gym. You see what I'm saying? So it kind of is the gift and the curse, but at the same time, you kind of happy for these dudes. Like, dang, I did all type of hours for no reason, just watching film on these dudes, and to see them go, like, it's probably why I'm pretty good in fantasy football. Like, you kind of know what they're capable of. Then you see whatever system they go to, and they like, all right, well, let's see what we get. But I do appreciate you, Kadeem. Back to Trey Smith, though. Trey Smith is a guard that went in the 6th round that I had with a 2nd round grade. Why these teams passed up on him? Hey, you be the judge. What is PFF saying about Trey Smith? Super Bowl champion, started 33 games, played in 33 games. Trey Smith.
So his 2022 season stats, 1,039, or you guys say that 1,039 as well?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. 6 penalties, 2 sacks allowed.
6 penalties, 2 sacks allowed. Hey, we can start right there. I'm good right there, Kadeem. 6 penalties, 2 sacks allowed. And this is for the Kansas City Chiefs. This is for the Super Bowl prestigious Patrick Mahomes protector, Kansas City Chiefs. And Trey Smith went in the 6th round. Dolphins had plenty of chances to reel in Trey Smith. And this is not an indictment on the Dolphins saying, oh, Dolphins need to draft better. Nothing like that. I'm just saying, bro, I don't know how some of these people get their jobs, like scouts. Not saying from the Dolphins, just in general, how you let someone slide through so far. But shoot me a name, Kadeem. Let's see where we're going.
Oh, dude, you're killing me right now. You are absolutely killing me. And I say that because we get people behind the curtain. Whenever I'm getting these stuff up, I've got to take down screens and all that kind of stuff. I'm hitting my mic and
I mean, you mentioned a whole bunch of names too. You mentioned Kenneth Walker III. I don't know how Kenneth Walker III didn't go higher than what he did.
There was someone who number 15. Oh, so there's two. Don't do them back to back, but 2 I find interesting. Antoine Winfield Jr. because we both were like, hey, Dolphins, go get this dude. But number 15, Lloyd Cushenberry. Again, you were I believe we both were, hey, go get this dude. Tell everyone what Lloyd Cushenberry was like in college and why, one, he made Touché 24 and why, the 2 of us and others wanted him in Miami.
Lloyd Cushenberry, 2020 3rd round pick, was an interior offensive lineman. So he could play guard and he could play center. And just to know that the Dolphins still, to this day, still have not fixed the O-line. I'll just use the word fix. We haven't fixed the O-line. So you're telling me from 2020, Touché's 24 in 2020, Touché's 24 in 2021, and Touché's 24 in 2022, we could have had Abraham Lucas. We could have had Trey Smith. We could have had Lloyd Cushenberry. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could have had all these boys. So it's like, to have Cushenberry there, what is it? 40 games played, 40 games started. Come on, man. You can't make this stuff up. 3rd round pick. So I like Cushenberry. I'm not in love with Cushenberry, but he's solid. A good pick, good pickup, good center, good guard, and he'll be protecting Russell Wilson for a long time. Well, as long as Sean Payton decides he wants to keep Russell Wilson.
What's interesting is, so the Dolphins, so round 3, so we're looking at, also very quickly, pick 64, back end of the 2nd round, Jeremy Chin. He also made Touché's 24.
Yeah.
But a few picks later, pick 70, the Dolphins select friend of the podcast, Brandon Jones. But yeah, Cushenberry is still on the board at that point. Also, who goes 2 picks later is tackle Josh Jones. And I say that name because I think it's fair to say that over 90% of mock drafts
had Josh Jones going in the 1st round
to Miami, pick 18. That's what everyone had. And I remember, chatting to you at the time. This is pre-Go Time Dolphins, and I saying Josh Jones. Like, he's mocked his Dolphins so much that it must be a given. I remember saying, "Yo, this guy's still there in the 3rd round. Like, what has happened for someone with so much pre-draft hype to fall so far?" You don't have to answer. You don't have to answer this. I'm gonna throw it out there anyway. Redrafting the 2020 NFL draft, I'm not gonna turn around and say pick 30. Like, that's not, or even pick 18. 3rd round, Dolphins on the board. Pick 70. Brandon Jones or Lloyd Cushenberry. Who are you taking in a redraft?
That's tough. Listen, because it's a soft spot. Because, like, when Antoine Winfield Jr. went and Jeremy Chin went, I'm like, yo, I don't even care who we get now at safety. But when we got Brandon Jones was in that tier for me. That was, I don't mind him on my team. That there's, I need this dude on my team, which was Jeremy Chin and Antoine Winfield Jr. Then there's, I don't want this person on my team, and this is not a knock, but that was Noah Igbenogany. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I don't see what people see in this dude. And even Noah Igbenogany was surprised he went in the 1st round. So, like, the whole team, like the agent, everybody, like, we didn't think we were going 1st round. But friend of the podcast, Brandon Jones, when we got him, I was so happy. Like, yo, this dude is a student, studies all the time. You feel me? And Cushenberry, I just feel like I'm gonna go Brandon Jones because there's been so many opportunities to go for people like Cushenberry. Like, I think Tyler Biadasz is on this list, right?
He is, yeah.
And what round he go in? Like the 4th round, 3rd round, is 3rd round pick?
Is that the same draft? I don't think it.
No, it's not the same. It's not the same draft. But I'm just saying that there's been opportunities, like even with the Landon Dickerson. You know what I'm saying? But we went friend of the podcast, Javon Holland.
4th round pick in
4th round pick.
Oh, same draft.
Same draft. It works out. And I don't recall it being the same draft. It just worked out that way. So you're telling me you couldn't get Brandon Jones and then get Tyler Biadasz in the 4th round? Like, you can trade 2000, the next year was 2021 4th round. If we had, I don't know what we had back then, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you can move assets for 4th, 5th, and 6th round picks. It's easy to move those things. You see what I'm saying?
It's also a compensatory pick as well. The final pick of the 4th round, compensatory pick.
So it's like a 5th round pick.
Pretty much, yeah. And the Dolphins in the 5th round took Jason Strowbridge, who's now who's a free agent.
So you're telling me the Dolphins could have traded up in the 5th round to take Tyler Biadasz?
100%.
That went to the Pro Bowl in 2022.
Like,
He's a
listen,
fixture in the Cowboys O-line now. You see what I'm saying?
yeah, it's one of those things where, you know, on draft night, there's certain cliches. Whenever the Ravens pick a player, everyone goes, "That's an amazing pick." The Ravens have done it once again. Whenever the Cowboys pick an offensive lineman, you go, "They've done it again." Even if you've never seen the guy, it's like, you know what? If the Cowboys have taken this guy, he's gonna be a dude. And yeah, you know, this is genuinely not a dig on
It's not.
like anyone in the Dolphins organization. You said it multiple times that 2020 draft could have been genuinely like altered the future of the Miami Dolphins in the best possible way. Again, I remember very clearly. Again, this is pre-Go Time Dolphins. There's probably voice notes that are still available. If we can find them, we can. Where he was like, okay, the Dolphins have taken 2 out of 5. Perfect. You've got that first pick right. They've still got 18 and 26. We obviously traded back. See, 18 and 26, move up and go get Tristan Wirfs. Done. I remember you saying that over and over and over and over again. You were like, do it. Have to do it. And
Bro,
it's like, so sorry, you're saying?
You know what's funny? I still have a screenshot, and just for this podcast purpose, we'll engineer it and put it in here somehow. I'll find a screenshot where I said there's 3 things I guarantee happen in this draft. The Dolphins, I guarantee, will take Tua. I guarantee he will not wear the number 13, and I guarantee we trade up. We trade our 3rd pick up to get an O lineman, and those were my 3 guarantees. Turns out I should have just said I guarantee Tua is the pick. I guarantee he doesn't wear 13, and I guarantee they trade the 3rd pick. I should have just left it at that. I shouldn't say trade up and trade back. Ended up trading back. But yeah, man, Tristan Wirfs, again, protected Tom Brady, Super Bowl champion. Best thing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers could have did was draft Tristan Wirfs.
There's so many. The Dolphins had so many swings to. And again, we can sit here 3 years later and go, they should have done this, they should have done that. But even just again to this day, I'm convinced pick 26 would have been Cesar Ruiz had he not gone to the Saints at 24. To this day, I'm convinced that pick 26 was going to be DeAndre Swift. The Dolphins were going to make that pick, and then the Packers said, hey, we'll trade up. And to be fair, at pick 30, you can still go and get DeAndre Swift, but they go and get Noah.
You still could have got Jonathan Taylor too.
Yeah. Maybe they were thinking, hey, we'll take him at 39. And then what? Taylor goes. Well, no, because you could have taken Jonathan Taylor at 39. You took Robert Hunt, friend of the podcast, Robert Hunt, who is still a victim to this day. So that's not the bad one. But to go back to my question I asked you about friend of the podcast, Brandon Jones or Lloyd Cushenberry, the Dolphins had every opportunity to take friend of the podcast, Brandon Jones at 70. And okay, cool. Cushenberry goes a few picks later. But in the 4th round,
Tyler Biadasz.
Yeah. And instead they took, if I can find him, but yeah. So in the 4th round, they take Solomon Kinley.
Oh, right.
Pick,
which had a decent, I want to say decent season.
Yeah.
That's decent first season.
He's someone who genuinely, if we ever got him in a podcast, I would want to ask, like, not even in a bad way.
What happened?
I have to know. It's like, and again, we always sit here and go, like, he wasn't bad.
He wasn't bad, bro.
He was not bad. And it's like he's battered someone's face and just hasn't been seen since.
Almost like Flo didn't like him. Like, you know how Flo had a gripe against Minka and made him leave? You know what I'm saying? It was almost like, oh, nah, I'm not feeling him. And you know what I'm saying? And something else I just want to point out, bro. This is not the episode where we say woulda, coulda, shoulda, and if we draft here, do that. This is not that episode. This is also not an episode where we say we're just, getting at the Dolphins organization for not picking right. This is not that either. But I will say this, and I say it all the time around this time of the season, Kadeem. I do this from 7 minutes of film on my couch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I watch football since I was 4 years old. Played football since I was 4 years old, or when it's not since, but you know what I'm saying? I started playing football when I was 4 years old, 3-4 years old, flag football. Remember taking teams to the Super Bowl in flag football, all the good stuff, right? A football family I have. And I watch film from the couch. 7 minutes of film from the couch. And I make my Touché 24 off of just watching film from the couch. Franchises have every snap ever played since high school on these players. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So how do you whiff on some of these picks? Not I'm not saying like how do you pick this person over that person, but sometimes you whiff. You can't whiff, bro. If you've been watching football your whole life, you can't whiff like some of these boys whiff. And that's all I'm saying. I will say that with conviction too. And a team that you missed out, and I've been eking to say this, is, you know how you said if the Ravens draft somebody, they don't, you know what I'm saying, and the Cowboys draft for old linemen, yes, the Cowboys, they hit on it. If the Pittsburgh Steelers draft a receiver, it's a wrap.
Especially in the second round.
You know what I'm saying?
It's in the second round, the guy is going to have a Hall of Fame career. He's going to be great. And then he's going to leave Pittsburgh and do something really stupid. Like yeah. Absolutely.
So we do have a Pittsburgh receiver on this list, George Pickens. We're not going to go dive into it, but George Pickens did make my Touché 24, did go to Pittsburgh. Yeah, man, Claypool ended up being something in Pittsburgh. But there's a lot of people here, man. You got something else before we get into bonus time?
If you've heard all this, then you 100% have to be here for next episode. When we reveal Touché's 24 for the 2023 draft, which is going to be absolutely amazing. Again, I can't wait for it. Because if this list shows us anything, is that I hate to admit it, but Charlie kind of knows what he's talking about.
He's like, he hated it, man. I appreciate you, Kadeem. You know, I'll just a couple of pointers I put out there. Brandon Ayuk was a first round pick, and rumor was the reason why I bring up Brandon Ayuk because he's on this list on Touché's 24. Brandon Ayuk was supposed to be a Miami Dolphin, and San Fran picked him before Miami, and then Miami then traded back, something like that. I think it was something like that. So. But word on the street was Brandon Ayuk was supposed to be the pick. The same way Todd Gurley was going to be the pick before we went Devontae Parker, but the Rams sniped him. So apparently we got sniped by San Fran for Brandon Ayuk and sniped by the Rams with Todd Gurley. But
that's so interesting. And I don't want to delve too much, but it's the Dolphins do go Brandon Ayuk in the first round. Say they did get him.
Yep.
Is Jalen Waddle a Miami Dolphin right now?
You never know. That I don't like doing that. You know what I'm saying? Because I really wanted to go Penei Sewell instead of Jalen Waddle. So I am on record. I have no problem saying this. I wanted to go Penei Sewell in the first round, Rondale Moore in the second round. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, can't nobody tell me I would have been wrong for that. You feel me? So it is what it is. It's to each his own. We're here, and just like Kadeem eloquently, which I didn't eloquently put it. The reason we brought this episode up is because Touché's 24 of 2023 episode is the next episode. We're gonna find gems that no one knows about, or no one is talking about enough, or that is under the radar that needs to get more shine, and they're going to get more shine on Go Time Dolphins, and we're going to talk them up. And then you guys can follow us along and use it as a guide for the draft, and then we can mock draft some of these people too. But y'all know what time it is. Stay positive, test negative. For Kadeem Simmons, I'm Charlie Touché. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time. Already.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time.
So there is a few things to get to in bonus time, but I do have a story. As you know, Charlie, I was in Birmingham for a wedding on Friday. Um, I was actually in Walsall, but Walsall is literally like right next to Birmingham. It's super close. I'll keep this story as short as possible. So it's a 3 hour drive. So we obviously stay in the hotel. Don't want to come back too late. The wedding starts at 2 o'clock, but due to traffic, you know, the plan was to get to the hotel, check in, and then go to the wedding. But we didn't have time for that. So we get to the wedding. Cool. We're not late, but is what it is. After the wedding ceremony and before, like, the dinner and all that kind of stuff, Hannah Montana and voice of the podcast, Jadaine Simmons, go back to the hotel to drop off the car or their cars and then, come back. So they drop off the cars. Jadaine says to reception, do we need to check in now? No, it's cool. You can check in later. So cool. Bearing in mind, we've already booked rooms. So, my parents had gone up the night before. They've got their room. Cool, cool, cool. Wedding finishes at midnight. Get back to the hotel. I go to check in. Check-in's not working. Not an issue, probably something wrong with their system. So hotel staff come out. I'm like, oh, hey, it's not really checking. It's not letting me check in, via the screens. But I've got a booking. Okay, cool. What's the name? Tell them my name. We're really sorry. We have no more rooms. It's like, but that can't be true because I've booked. Like, I've paid for my room. They turn around and say, yeah, what happens is that they overbook, and then if you don't check in time, the room goes to someone else. So we're like, well, hold on. We came to you and you said we can check in later. Like, how can you do this? Like, we're sorry, we just have no more rooms. Bearing in mind, it's like 12:30 now. We're 3 hours away. Both of us have been drinking, so we can't go home. So to cut a super long story short, me and Hannah had sleep on the floor of Jordaine's room because they literally had no rooms. But they also did it to two other of my cousins and the DJs. So essentially at 1 a.m., and also there's no more hotels in Walsall that can take us. The DJs at 1 a.m. have to drive back to London, 3 hour drives, because once again, and so with the DJ's room, that got checked in that on Friday morning. They then gave the room, so that was checked in at 8:40 a.m. At 10 p.m., they gave the room to someone else. 10 p.m. Despite the fact it was paid for that morning. So that's my story. Absolutely mental.
I don't like it, bro. I feel like they just pooped emoji on the people, bro. You know what I'm saying?
It was also they done to my cousin on Friday night, and my cousin had a baby, like a newborn baby. Sorry, we've given you to someone else. It's a newborn baby at midnight. Where we're meant to go.
That's wild, bro. Like, airlines do that all the time. And they just, we need 6 people to take the next flight. Like, what? Like, and we got $250 for you.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
Y'all
Anyway,
playing.
that's my story. So it's been an interesting 48 to 72 hours. Chosen Anderson has become a Miami Dolphins. There's growing reports that Dalvin Cook is likely to be cut. And there's a report, as I'm looking right now on social media, that the Dolphins have an extension talks with Christian Wilkins. Expect the deal to get done soon. But King of Finland says this Twitter account chats poop emoji, so don't trust them. But we all kind of assume that Christian Wilkins is going to get a extension soon. We touched upon Chosen Anderson briefly before on bonus time. But yeah, what do you make of? Is there anything further you want to add on Chosen Anderson? And if Dalvin Cook gets cut, how quickly are you bringing him to Miami?
Hey, before I do that, y'all can find this Touché's 24 list that we just presented on this episode. You can find it on our social media, all our platforms at Go Time Dolphins. We'll have it up for you. And then obviously next episode we'll do 2023 Touché's 24, and that'll follow suit too. Chosen Anderson, bro. I said it earlier, man. I'm okay with this, and I cannot wait to see. Do we know the particulars of the
I haven't
contract?
seen anything yet. No.
I cannot wait. Listen, if there's anything that you ever learned on Go Time Dolphins during the offseason, just remember this during the offseason. Follow the money. Follow the money. If Chosen Anderson's contract is 2 years, 3 years, 3 million guaranteed, 4 million guaranteed, stuff like that, they're not gonna cut this dude for Braxton Barrows, who has a 1-year deal or something like that. You see what I'm saying? So follow the money, and that'll tell you if we bring in 15 wide receivers like we always do every off season for camp bodies, it'll tell you who's going to make the team. Now, yeah, you're going to have some bubble spots. You're going to have some people on the bubble where they both don't have guaranteed money, or it's like very little guaranteed money, and then they're probably fighting for a spot. Yeah, you're definitely going to have that. But we're in a place now where I wonder, Kadeem, you remember when we were talking about, the Dolphins kept 5 tight ends and a fullback, so that means it took away from a different spot on the team, and they only dressed 5 receivers. Remember that?
Yep.
I doubt that's the case this year. I doubt we're gonna dress only 5 receivers. I think we're gonna go with 6, like a traditional team now. Like, we're gonna have 6 receivers because we have to be careful with the depth if someone goes out for a game. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna have a couple people protected on the roster, like a Chosen Anderson. Or I would not have been opposed to drafting a receiver. For some reason, people just think I'll be playing when I'm like, yeah, we're top heavy. It's yeah, you can be top heavy and have the best 2 corners on the same team. You know what I'm saying? Or the best 2 receivers now. But then what happens after that? So you're gonna go Craycraft and Waddle. If Hill gets hurt, that's gonna get us to the Super Bowl, Kadeem. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, bro, you gotta have the depth. You see what I'm saying? So I don't mind if bro, Zay Flowers, he legit.
The AI video. That's what I'm saying.
He's legit. So yeah, I don't mind if the Dolphins draft corner in the second round this year. I don't mind it. I don't mind if the Dolphins draft receiver in the second round this year. It just depends on who falls to you at 51, or if they trade everything and move up a little bit, or trade everything and move back a little bit. I'm all for it. But I knew that the Dolphins were going to have to add something at receiver just to protect themselves. I didn't know it was going to be something like a Chosen Anderson, but I'm all right with it. I'm cool with it. You asked something else, the second part to that question too. What was it?
Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook. This is a little loaded because I don't know that the Vikings cut Dalvin Cook. If the Vikings cut Dalvin Cook, that's going to say not only did they cut him, they're moving on ASAP from Kirk Cousins, because you're not gonna eat dead cap and still say you're trying to compete. Depending on how much dead cap you have, you're not gonna eat all of this dead cap and then try to bring in free agents and trade for people with money on your contract. You're probably gonna do one or the other. You're probably gonna clean up your cap so you could add to it next season, or you're gonna bring in players and like hold on to people until the dead cap is smaller of a hit. So it is very telling. Follow the money. If that money goes out the window, you know what Minnesota's doing. And it's crazy because now Minnesota actually has a window to compete if Aaron Rodgers leaves. It'll just be Minnesota, Chicago, Green Bay with Jordan Love, the Lions, which I think the Lions, for my dollar, should go out there, Lamar Jackson. But that division is about to be wide open, and we're about to find out. So if Dalvin Cook does get cut, you can almost take the ticket to the counter right now, and he'll be a Miami Dolphin if Dalvin Cook gets cut. I just don't see him getting cut. Trading for him, I don't see us trading for a running back that's going to get paid $14 million every year for the next 3 years. I don't see that either. But there are running backs in this draft that we will talk about on the next episode of Touché 24. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know. I do like it if he gets cut though. You can bet that. You could bet that.
So if he, the interesting thing, and again, I don't want to say it kind of it gives away what Miami are going to do in any round, but I would I'm trying to think of the right way to put it. The Dolphins pick up Dalvin Cook. Do they go and draft a running back in the second round? Because if you look at the Dolphins running back core right now, it's what Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson Jr., friend of the podcast, Miles Gaskin, and Savon Ahmed. Those are the 4 running backs right now.
Mm-hmm.
The Dolphins bringing in Dalvin Cook and then drafting, like, I can legit see a scenario where the Dolphins do both of those things. They say, hey, because I think when the Dolphins brought back all 4 running backs in the offseason, it was very much a case of, well, did you really need to do that? But it's also like, you want to bring them all back, so then no one jumps you for a running back at any point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also, you got all 4 running backs, you bring in Dalvin Cook. At 51, no one thinks you're going running back. No one at all. Which is when you go running back, because no one's going to jump you and try and snap them from you. So it's if the Dolphins do pick up Dalvin Cook, even if it's, I won't say even if it's on draft night, but if before the draft the Dolphins pick up Dalvin Cook, don't be surprised if the Dolphins take one at 51. Also, don't be surprised if the Dolphins take one at 51 and then Dalvin Cook gets cut after the draft. Say the Vikings pick up Jahmyr Gibbs. And it's like, hey, we'll still go get him. It just means in that scenario of the 6 running backs the Dolphins have, you would probably assume the 4 that make the roster would be Cook, the rookie, Wilson, and Mostert. But at this point, who knows?
I think where's Minnesota pick in the draft? 21st? 20. It's in the early 20s, no?
Didn't do mock draft.
How nice would it be if the Miami Dolphins had a pick 21 right now? It'll be so nice because you're either coming home with Bijan Robinson, Joey Porter Jr. You're coming home with something nice, bruh. Like something safe too. Something that's, we hit here. And now we don't even have it. I'm gonna bring that up every episode until the draft. But go ahead.
I'm gonna do it after as well.
Listen,
whoever goes from pick 21 to the final pick of the NFL draft, I'm like, hey, you know what? Could have been a Dolphin. But yeah, Minnesota pick 23.
23. I said 21. So Minnesota picks 23. Bijan Robinson could be gone by then. Bijan Robinson, for those who don't know, is the best running back in the draft. And to tip my hand, he is the best running back in the draft. And he's not just like, they say he's not. He's the best running back in the draft. So Bijan Robinson, the best running back in the draft, could be gone by then. But luckily for Minnesota, that's striking distance. You know what I'm saying? If he falls to 16, does Minnesota trade up to get him? So if Minnesota ends up with Bijan Robinson, you already know the writing's on the wall with Dalvin Cook. So it's exactly what you said, Kadeem. Dalvin Cook could get cut now and get picked up by the Dolphins and then before the draft. Or the Dolphins could have Jahmyr Gibbs fall to him at 51, draft him, and then Dalvin gets cut afterwards. And that's just bad for Dalvin Cook because now he's not going to make as much as he could have before we had Gibbs. You know what I'm saying? So bro. Everything is on the table. Every single thing is on the table. I trust Mike McDaniel. I really do. And in no world would I have ever seen Chris Greer and Brian Flores go to a UFC fight together in Miami. You know what I'm saying? Like that says something about the relationship between the head coach and the GM, that they were at a front row of a UFC event just cooling with each other. You feel me? So I really trust these boys. They both know that their job security is in the other person's hands. So whatever happens, I'm okay with, and I will criticize it later if it doesn't go right. You know what I'm saying? So I have to give them benefit of the doubt. We are a win now team. The Super Bowl window is open. It's the most wonderful time of the year for me. I love this time of the season, draft season, and I can't wait to see what happens.